Hey, thanks for joining me here today. How to write a motivational speech. Well, good for you that you're going to put this together. I'm excited to show you some tips, tricks, and some amazing people whom I admire that have helped me in my career as well, and that I can look to and say, that's how you write a good motivational speech. My name is Jason Hewlett. I'm a Hall of Fame speaker. I'm excited to talk to you about how you can do the same and write a great motivational speech. Here we go. Whatever your reason is for writing your motivational speech, the truth of the matter is that leaders are able to give great speeches. Communication is so important, and coming up with the right ways to move an audience and to share that which is your great theme and the reason that you want to give that motivational speech. That's what we're going to talk about here today. I'm excited to have you. Number one, you need to understand your audience. Understanding your audience means that you have done some homework on them. They are the people you're speaking for. It's not a motivational speech just about you. It's about them. And so when you take the time to learn about their needs, about the reason that you would stand in front of them and share what you're about to give them, yes, you've done your homework. Yes, you know their industry. You don't have to necessarily be an expert in it. In fact, a majority of the groups that I speak to as a keynote speaker, and I'm hired around the world to speak to lots of people, I actually don't know what they do and I don't know much about it, but I do my homework. I read their website. I jump on a conference call. I listen to their concerns. And what I've found is that overall, most companies have the same challenges across the board, no matter the industry. Most people have the same needs in terms of feeling appreciated and doing their best type of work, that they need to improve their performance or their culture. And so these are easy things to talk about. But knowing the audience and doing my best to customize it to them really gives me a great advantage. One of the things you want to really lean into when it comes to connecting with and knowing your audience is to help empathize with what they're going through. So if they've been through big struggles because of supply chains and manufacturing, then talk to that. If they have customer service issues or there's some kind of product challenge, talk to that. One of my favorite speakers, her name is Laurie Guest. Laurie Guest does something that's so ingenious, I had to share it with you. She does secret shopping before the speech. Yeah, so she'll go and buy the product from the client and she will figure out a way to integrate herself into being a customer for that client. Now, it might be simple if she speaks for Coca-Cola because she just needs to buy a drink, but there are other types of services or products that are a little bit more challenging. So what she does is she does some secret shopping, and then she's able to put together a very customizable speech because they're like, wow, she took the time to come and shop us out to figure out what our pain points are, some of the challenges that we have. I hope that you'll check out Laurie Guest because she's one of the genius speakers I've ever seen, and she's a Hall of Famer. The next one would be to be crafting a compelling narrative. When we weave a story that captures their hearts and their minds, yes, then we capture the narrative that we want to speak to. This could be very well said as storytelling. When we tell a story that captivates their imagination, it brings them into a place of saying, I love this speaker, or I love this story. That gives us more opportunity to influence. And so in writing your motivational speech, consider the stories that you're going to tell. A lot of times I'll talk about 3 points in a poem or 3 stories in a point. It's up to you how you want to craft your message, but make sure that you have a narrative that goes throughout. One of the great speakers in the whole world that does this so well is Kelly Swanson. Kelly Swanson is a genius in that she takes stories that happen every day, and then she weaves them throughout a presentation that takes you into a journey unlike any you've ever seen before. She's a Hall of Fame speaker. She's very well renowned, and actually she's also a coach and teaches others how to write their story. So if you go to motivationalspeakerkellyswanson.com, you'll check out her website and see how awesome she is. I would recommend that you consider for yourself as well, if you're going to become a great motivational speaker, you want to have a coach. I've hired many great speaker coaches through the years, and Kelly has been somebody who's helped me with my stories as well. So if I'm willing to hire her, I think you should check her out too. Because when she does her characters, it is hilarious, but it also always wraps up into something that is just so delicious because you're crying by the end. She brings all the emotions into this narrative. She is so fascinating. Check out her great work. Let's talk about leveraging emotional appeals. Think about the needs of your audience. Maybe they have something that they're emotionally striving to work towards. One of the best speakers that I've seen do this so well is named Michelle Villalobos. You see, she used to do a lot of speeches and then turned it into coaching and a practice where people would come to her to listen to her share stories and how she can leverage into this whole concept of emotional appeals. I love the fact that she's able to take us on a journey of how she was able to get to where she's at. She tells this story of a superstar activator because that's what she is. She helps you activate your superstardom. She talks about taking wings and flying off into that big possibility of not knowing if you're going to land, and yet she flies away and teaches other people how to do this as well. It's an emotional appeal. She makes people cry with her stories. She brings us into her world and says, you can do this too, and I can show you how to do it. She is the superstar activator. Go check out her website. Maybe you can go to some of her events as well. Let's talk about setting clear goals and calls to action. There's such a cool way when we as speakers are able to help the person listening to understand that we need to have some goals. But we don't want to just talk about goals and hitting those marks. We also want to create a goal to have a call to action. A lot of speakers forget the call to action. What is it that we want to compel them to go do after they've heard us? Whether it's a great story or a customer experience, something that we've taken them through that has given an appeal to their senses and their emotions. Now, what about the call to action? Helping a speaker come up with their goals and their call to action. This is something that Eileen Wilder does so well. Eileen Wilder actually calls herself the confident closer, and she's a great coach. In fact, I found her on Instagram. I've never met her in my life, but I love watching her videos because she's somebody who helps you realize that you need to have a call to action as a speaker, and you don't want to just speak to speak. It's nice to have a great message, but you want to give someone a reason to do what they're going to do. And so what are your goals? What are the intentions of your speech? I also like to say, what is the promise of your message? If you can establish that, if you can also let them know the problem that you help them solve, yes, you will be somebody who can create a call to action, whether it's to your coaching, consulting, to buy your book, to join your website, to be on your YouTube channel, whatever it might be. Eileen Wilder is a master at this. When writing a motivational speech, you want to be able to utilize humor as much as you possibly can. Humor and levity, they both go hand in hand. It's not to say you have to become a comedian, but it's helpful to be funny. If you want to be paid as a speaker, they say, you need to be funny. And so when it comes to writing funny, that might be a little tricky. You could buy some books on how to do that, but I would just recommend all you have to do is tell a story authentically as it happened. There's usually humor in the tragedies that happen in our lives within a story that's not too tragic, such as if the coffee fell over in the car or if somebody was late to something. There's comedy everywhere that you look. It's a matter of cultivating the story. It's also a matter of watching people who do it so well that you can start to pattern after them. Let me tell you about my friend Christine Cashin. Christine is one of the best speakers I've ever seen because she makes things funny that she finds all around her life. She has stories about her children that she shares. She shares stories with different companies that she's spoken for. In fact, I've seen her do 3 keynotes for the same company 3 years in a row. She never did the same material over 3 years. It's astounding how funny she is, how good she is at writing a speech. And it's because she's constantly cultivating all of the material. She's capturing stories. She's seeing things that are funny. As she drives, she sees a billboard and has a funny thought. Maybe she hears music on the radio and comes up with a new way of hearing it in her own way. There are different ways of cultivating humor in all that we do. Just look for the opportunities around you. They're happening all the time. And go check out Christine Cashin. She is a hilarious Hall of Famer and a genius. Now let's talk about incorporating visual, technology, and verbal techniques. I'm talking about how you can integrate AI into your speeches. This, I feel, is the important piece that a lot of speakers are missing today. They're allowing the world to fly past, and in essence, we have an opportunity right now to join the AI ChatGPT train. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to let that thing write your speech for you. However, it can help. Have you ever typed into ChatGPT how to write a motivational speech or write me a great motivational speech? Guess what? It'll give you some great options, and at the same time, you then fill in the blanks where you can add your own personal stories, your examples, the things that you feel are important to you. When it comes to technology, this is such a great tool to be able to utilize in your life. I would also recommend that you consider, as you're writing your speech, the visual techniques you're going to use. So consider the images and the slides that you can share. Maybe it's a video that's compelling and that's interesting to people. If you create those images yourself, that's going to be even better. So I would encourage you to use visual aids whenever you can, to utilize AI, and you also have to look up my friend Crystal Washington. Crystal goes around the world and speaks about utilizing AI in your business. Now, this woman is amazing. She's a Hall of Famer, and she is so spunky and awesome and wise, and she also has a channel just like this one. I hope you'll go find her, but go to crystalwashington.com. You'll get some great ideas as to how you can write your speech even better through the use of technology. Let's talk about practicing authenticity and vulnerability. When it comes to sharing your own story, this is such an important piece. A lot of people think that writing a motivational speech, they just need to go grab some quotes or maybe the story of somebody else. Maybe they'll share somebody's video that's already being created. But I would recommend you steer away from that for now. What you should start with instead is talking about your own authenticity, your own story, and sharing your own vulnerability. It's so awesome when a speaker stands on stage and owns where they come from, what they've been through, the authentic reasons as to why we should listen to them, vulnerably sharing some of the tough things they've been through and how they've bridged the gap in order to have the success they now have. When we help somebody on our stage, and in the audience, they start to see, wow, I can do this too. That is one of the greatest gifts we can give an audience. One of the best I've ever seen at this is a lady named Pegeen Echeverria. Pegeen just goes by Pegeen because Echeverria is so hard to spell, so she just has her awesome website, Pegeen. But if you go to Pegeen.com, you'll see a woman who lives in absolute authenticity and confidence. She's had a lot of hard things she's been through, and yet she's a Hall of Fame speaker. She's one of the best there is. And she brings something so cool. She dances and she has everybody get up and move and dance and shake their booty. It's a very fun presentation, but it's engaging. It's vulnerable. She is a great business leader, an inspiring human being. And I'm excited to share her with you if you don't know who she is yet. But when you think about Pegeen, I want you to think about how you authentically share who you are. In fact, I love how Pegeen has this cool look. She's got her cool glasses, her cool silver hair, and she wears her awesome outfits. Be yourself, be authentic, be creative, be vulnerable, and share that which you can in your speech. Finally, let's talk about ending strong and with impact. The best person I can steer you towards in order to learn how to do this the best is Brené Brown. Brené Brown is a researcher. She talks about vulnerability and shame, but I don't know if there's anybody in the world right now that can speak more about impact in this sense than Brené Brown. If you have Netflix, she has her special there, but go to brenebrown.com and you'll find some of her incredible writings. You'll also be able to see that she talks about bravery. She talks about stepping into the arena. The importance of truly owning who you are and being okay with the imperfections of it. That to me is perhaps the most important part of writing a great motivational speech. Being somebody who's willing to share the warts, to talk about the difficulties, to show that there is vulnerability all throughout. That's where you have the most impact. If you stand up on that stage and you try to be perfect, people see right through you. And so take a page out of Brené Brown's book. Lean into your authenticity, into bravery, go courageously, and be vulnerable. Share the stories of where things didn't go right, and then also give a resolution as to how the person listening can make their life right. As a call to action to you, what I would love for you to do, if you would, go in the comments section right now. After you've liked and subscribed to this channel and to this page, here's what I want you to do. In the comments, please write the most inspiring speaker you've ever seen. As you noticed perhaps from this video, I shared about my female friends and the women speakers that I love so much. There are many more that I didn't share that I do in other videos, but this one was dedicated to my female friends. I would love for you to post in the comment, if you will, who are your favorite speakers you have seen, and especially those that are female that have changed your life. Because when you share your authenticity, you share vulnerably, you tell it in a story, you're going to change lives with your next motivational speech.